There have been a lot of inquiries about the lake levels this year, and that is reasonable because they are way down. And I've even heard there's conspiracy theories that the township's pumping water out of the lakes and this type of thing. So just wanted to address some of that because I've addressed a lot of it on individual phone calls or emails. So several different things with that. In the 1970s, there was a lot of flooding, heavy snowfall. A lot of people remember the huge snowstorms. There was a lot of flooding on the lakes. So it was decided for, and partly for health reasons, that something was going to be done about it. Because when the lake levels get too high, there you start getting into the septic systems. And so the channels were done connecting Twin Lake, Middle Lake, and West Lake. North Lake wasn't connected at that time because it didn't have as high water quality levels. And that was all put in 1984 along with the lake level outlet device on the south side of Twin Lake, and then the Ribe drain running south from that. Obviously, over the last few years, there have been a ton of drain projects that have been highly controversial. And then just last year, there were the channel projects in between Twin Lake and Middle Lake and West Lake that were put in for over $80,000 for the township, and that was not the greatest thing in the world. It was obviously hugely political, and then shortchanged by probably about 20 grand. And even I could say you could throw that culvert in there, which they needed another $69,000 to do that. So it was probably shortchanged about $90-some thousand by the township, and so that probably wasn't the best way to go around it, but maybe there wasn't. And we'll work on fixing those channels. I have an estimate from the Michigan Conservation District on bracing those up in a way that should be proper. But nevertheless, I mean, the one between Middle Lake and West Lake has been dry most of the year because the water levels are so low anyways. And then the lake level outlet device, when I took office, knew about it, didn't know any details about it in particular, went and took a look at it, and it's old wood, and it's not in great shape. And essentially what it is it's underground on the south side of Twin Lake there, and it's a dam. It's just a wooden dam that's underground. So if the water gets too high in the lake in Twin Lake, but the lakes are connected obviously, and then there's underground water flow for North Lake. If the water level gets too high, it flows over the top of the dam and releases some of the water. And then if it's not that high, the dam holds it back. And just because it's not in great shape, and from the fact that the top board is cut by 6 inches, and now I can easily guess at the reason that happened. In '84, I looked at the paperwork. When it was established, there is a winter level for that dam, for the lake level outlet device, and a summer level. So between May 15th and October 15th, it's supposed to go up by 6 inches, and in the winter, it's supposed to go down by 6 inches. And that part obviously wasn't capable of being used with the wood section in there, so at some point someone cut it down 6 inches to the winter level. Don't know when that was done. Looking at the boards, I'd guess somewhere over a decade ago, but not really sure. But all of that's been left, so it's operating the same way it's been operating for years. Because it's in bad shape, I wanted to get it replaced, and some people had reached out to me about helping with that, which would be great. And I know the township had the legal fight with the drain commissioner over the whole thing, with the channels and whatnot. And and the lake level outlet device is technically part of the Ribe drain and falls under the jurisdiction of the drain commissioner. Met with her, met with the engineers and surveyors that she normally works with for those types of things, looking at getting the project done. This was early this spring. I wanted it done before May 15th. And so we were working on that. And for the people I was talking to, it was maybe a couple $1,000 project. It looks like she's going to do a $30-some thousand project to do this. Apparently it's in funds she already has from all that money she assessed for the Ribe drain. So it's going to come out of that thing, a fund that she already has. And then it didn't happen this spring because there was a delay on some of the parts from the manufacturer, as there has been in a lot of construction and just overall production in the United States over the last year. And so it's supposed to happen this fall, and I had a call in with her inquiring, and she wasn't sure where it was. She was going to look into it, and I haven't heard back in the last couple of days. hoping that that gets done this fall so that it operates properly all next year, and then we can increase it to the summer levels by those 6 inches. Nevertheless, it still relies on natural waterfall. So if we have a light snowfall over the winter, and then if we were to have a repeat, I mean, this spring we had that drought in the spring, and I think that was rough in several different ways. I think it has affected the gypsy moths coming out, which will probably now do a few year cycle. It definitely affected having so many forest fires. We had so many forest fires that the fire was running ragged on this spring, and then it affected the lake levels, obviously, over the whole summer. Those have continued to drop as they normally do over the heat of the summer, but they started out low. And actually, at the beginning of the year, they were basically where they were supposed to be by that measurement. And now that had been inquired into being raised by Merle Hiddle. He's a supervisor for Dalton in the late 80s and again, I think, around 2000. He'd inquired at some point, paperwork I came across reading, about getting it raised. That was shut down by the state, by I believe the DNR, maybe the DEQ at that time, which would be Eagle now. And the whole project was originally put in as part of a Corps of Engineers project. And the issue with raising it a foot or even a couple of feet that he had inquired into is that you would get into those septic systems. And when you start getting the water in those septic systems, you get too much phosphorus out of there, which affects the lakes. There's too much phosphorus in those lakes now. And a lot of that comes from fertilizers, phosphorus-based fertilizers, which people aren't supposed to use, but I do believe people still use a decent amount. And so that's why it can't be legally raised, essentially. And it's working right now the same way it's been working for many years, and hopefully that gets replaced this fall. We're just waiting on the Drain Commissioner, now known as the Water Resources Commissioner, to do that project that I had discussed with her early this spring, and then it'll at least function properly. But we still need a heavier snowfall, which I'll be honest, I'm rooting against, but we still need a heavier snowfall and a heavier waterfall in the summer and in the spring and the summer to raise those levels. And I think some people have inquired to more dying fish and that type of thing. I think that probably has affected the ecology, just like the forest fires in the area are going to affect the ecology of the forest for years to come, just like the gypsy moths are going to be in effect for a few years, and the low water levels change the plants in the lake and they change the environment for the fish, and that's why I think we're probably seeing some of those things. So hopefully it goes back to increasing, but not too high as it's been kind of those flood levels around here for the last handful of years. And I know in some areas it's gone down a ton because part of the area I drive on Holton Whitehall and White Lake Drive have been flooded for the last few years. There's been on White Lake Drive, there's water on the road for about a year, I do believe. And then coming up from that north of Goose Egg Lake, and then on Holton Whitehall Road, there's several swamp areas that have essentially been lakes for the last few years, and now they look like you could walk across them. So the water in that area is definitely way down. I know that we've had complaints here from people that grow blueberries that their land is too dry now. The area is draining too well. So definitely a problem you can get by overcorrecting in that direction, which maybe we have done. I think we probably have done. Although I've heard in some areas that they seem to have more water and be more wet now than they were before. So I don't know exactly how that all occurs. But that is essentially the story of what has occurred there. So nothing major has changed. I know rumors have been spreading about that because I have looked at replacing the lake level outlet device, and I want to get it replaced so that it's working properly like when it was originally put in, and hopefully that'll happen soon. Any other inquiries, of course, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. Happy to talk about it.